So one of the things that you can do to create wealth is to improve the value you are offering to people. If you have been doing it wrongly or you're not getting results, then ask yourself, wealth is about adding value to people. Wealth is the result of the value you add to people. Value means the satisfaction people derive from what you do or the relationship they have with you. And that is very important. Why do you think that actors and actresses who produce movies, they make billions of dollars just talking and dancing? Because they are entertaining people. That's all. So what you don't have in ability, you can use leverage to get it. I mentioned it before, and you can also learn to invest in leverage, build relationship over time. You may not have money, but you can visit your friends. You can call them and chat with them to encourage them, celebrate them on their birthdays. On social media is good now. You don't click anybody. In fact, some of us, social media, Facebook will unfriend you or block your access to somebody if you have not contacted them over time. If you have not maybe liked what they posted or posted anything on their timeline over time, because it's about relationship. So you need to understand those basics. And like I said last week, there are 4 levels of value that you can deliver, because the higher the value at the spiritual level, the higher the results that you get, because wealth is a spiritual outcome. We said that much, and we talk about implementation, which is still about the physical force, is the lowest level. Then we talk about using your management skill and managing people and your time, which is what managers do generally. You can delegate, you can give people assignments on your behalf. And like I said last week, learn to partner with people. This training, the slides for this training was packaged and put together by my brother, Doyin Ademosu. I don't know how to do this, or I used to know it, but I don't have the time anymore. My job is to do the content. Somebody else and him worked on making sure the links are ready, we are on YouTube, and we are ready to fly. That's how it's supposed to work. I'm leveraging on that relationship by combining my skill with the people I have, with their own skill. So because the era of starting a mega business alone has gone, you must learn to outsource non-core activities to professionals. And let me say this quickly. For some people who insist that they want money to start their own businesses, you are getting it wrong. The economy that we run, especially today in Nigeria, will not give you access to quick money like we used to have 10 years ago. There are very few people who have disposable income of 1 million naira in Nigeria. So if you say people are not helping you because you have not developed relationships. But one thing again also is that whatever you want to do, you can do it piecemeal. You can do it piecemeal. For example, I published a book last year called Obalende. The book is a novel. I only printed 30 copies. Only 30 copies to test the market, to test the acceptability of the book, and also to understand the market. I published only 30 copies. Why? Because I needed millions of naira to print many copies. I went online, I made a lot of noise, but I printed only 30 copies. And I sold all the 30 copies. Did I make loss? I didn't make any loss, but I didn't make profit. But what did that do for me? It generated a lot of interest. So people now started investing in me and in what I'm doing. So now, 1 year later, we are rolling out new copies of that book. We have in that period of 1 year, 3 professors around the world have analyzed the book, they have viewed the book, they have given us comments, we have tested it in the marketplace, we have tested it among the literary people in Nigeria, and I did all that without spending money. Why? I have relationship with the art community, with the literary community. So we did all that. So at the end of the day, I didn't lose money. I didn't make money, but I didn't lose money. But I had product. Now, we've gone through all that. The book is now ready for public launch. But if I needed to go all out from last year, I would have spent 5 million naira from day one. And I didn't have that kind of money to waste. So I did it piecemeal. I first printed 10 copies. When people paid for the 10 copies, I now went to print another 20. I didn't make any loss. From those copies, I was able to pay everybody. That's what we are saying. But somebody else will say, no, sir, I need the money. I need 5 million to be able to do it. If you have never handled 1 million before, you can handle 5 million. You will fail. If you have never handled 200,000 in your account at once before, you cannot handle 500,000. You will fail. Because money is a spirit. So it's important for us to understand that. And of course, you must be able to communicate your desires and your needs and your passion. And that's why God gave us mouth. You can use your mouth to make more money. That's what I did with that book. I was selling it with my mouth, selling it to my friends. And people bought, one copy, people bought 20,000 naira. One copy of the book, 20,000. That's my relationship. If you don't know me, you will not buy that kind of book. Some people thought I was worth it, so they paid 20,000 naira for one copy. Somebody paid me for one copy, 200,000 naira. If somebody paid me a huge amount of money and did not collect copy, I had to send it to the person. Because I use my relationship and my mouth. So you must learn to communicate. Especially when you have an idea. That's why we keep teaching people about the 1 minute elevator speech. What do you do? Do you do it for? And the benefits that it offers to people. You must learn it. Don't go rambling. Then, of course, imagination is the highest one, which is what I used to produce Obalende. Wrote the book. Imagine where I'm going. Now we are doing the book launch. The book launch also, normally, when you do book launch, you're expecting money. I'm not expecting money. My book launch is a strategic approach to attract the people who invest in the circulation of the book worldwide. And I got it right already. So you must learn to use your brain to generate more wealth. Where you should spend 1 million, you can ask yourself, based on your knowledge, based on questions that you ask, based on research that you do, you can get it cheaper if you're not in a hurry and you are creative about it. Talking to the right people at the right time and having the right mindset is very important. So, and of course, the final one, which will give you value, which also add value to people, is that you must learn to do trade-off. What is trade-off? The way to do trade-off is that you must be willing to give up something that has value to get something that has higher value. Because a lot of people are not willing to do trade-offs. You are not willing to make sacrifice for tomorrow. You are not willing to delay gratification. That's why some of us have challenges. You must be willing to delay gratification. You must be willing not to win arguments so that you can win relationship. Some of us will burn our bridges with relationship. I'm trying to help somebody, and within 1 week, he started abusing me. How am I going to help you tomorrow? If I even know somebody is going to help, I won't help you. That's not wickedness. Because you don't have character. So we need to understand all that. But where we are going, and as we begin to go close to it, is that people are wealthy because they are successful in using mental wealth. People are wealthy because they are successful in using mental wealth. So you must use your brain and your spirit. Think big. Like we used to hear those days, to be a billionaire, think like a billionaire. It's not a joke. Napoleon Hill said, you must think and grow rich. You must think and grow rich. Norman Vincent Peale wrote a book. I read everything that book in secondary school. The power of positive thinking. You must be able to think, because Proverbs 23:7 says, as he thinks in his heart, so he is. So how do I begin to make more money without more money? Associate with wealthy people and emulate successful and wealthy people. It can be wealthy without being successful, but it cannot be successful without being wealthy. Successful means the person is fulfilling destiny in a godly manner, and he has wealth. Wealth means he can meet his needs. That's what wealth means. He can meet his need in the next 1 or 2 years. That's what wealth means. And the test of your wealth is, if you stop working today, can you survive for 6 months without your economy collapsing? That's the proof of your wealth. And as COVID taught us, and as my personal experience has taught me, I am now saying, if you cannot succeed for 2 years without working, doing major, meaningful business, then you are not wealthy. So ask yourself, do you have what it takes to survive 2 years without generating direct income? If you were to be locked up in your room for the next 2 years, will your economy collapse? If yes, you are not wealthy. That's the truth. If yes, you are not wealthy. And that's my experience. Because for over 2 years, I couldn't do anything after COVID. And my economy did not suffer. That is wealth. It's not about millions in the bank. What are the assets that you have? In the period that I couldn't move out, do anything, I started 2 businesses. Lying on the bed, hospital bed. That is wealth. Your brain can connect some things. Your spirit can create something. So how do you do that? You model the godly belief system of the wealthy people. Don't despise them. Don't speak the stupid Yoruba proverb, which people say out of despising people. The wealthy man is not God. It's God that covered his shame. Why don't you pray to God to cover your own shame? Why don't you ask him or God how God covered his own shame? Number 2, model their physiology as they appear and move. Watch how they sit and how they move. There is one of my mentors, I shadowed him for a whole year in Nigeria. I paid some people to help me know when he wakes up, when he sleeps, what he eats for 1 year, where he was going. I won't mention the name of my mentor. I wanted to know what he was eating, how he was eating, what he was doing, the habit of that man. I copied everything. By the time I was finished with that and practicing, I knew I was not going to fail again. So model their physical movement, their lifestyle. Begin to practice it. Like they said, you don't just think like a billionaire. It makes you know the next one, you model their mental syntax. How do they think? What do they say? A wealthy man will say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Jesus said, my Father has not left me. If you have seen the Father, you have seen me. That is mental. That is his mental syntax. That is what is coming from his brain. We are told you can do all things. Philippians 4:13, through Christ who strengthens you. My God shall supply all my needs, not my wants. through Christ Jesus. So model those things and begin to talk like them. Don't talk impossibility. And of course, model their global vision and their local status. You must be global in your orientation. What does that mean? You must have a global vision, but your focus must be local. Global means you are thinking big, like Joseph. You have seen the world bowing before your feet, but you are operating from your local government. You are operating from your house, from your community. So you are not arrogant, you are realistic. Joseph had a dream that everybody is going to bow before him, but he was happy to serve in the prison. That's local. He was happy to be houseboy in the house of Potiphar. And the Bible says even when he was a prisoner, when he was a slave, he was prosperous because it was his mind that was prosperous. I may be in Nigeria, my economy is not Nigerian controlled. It's controlled by God. That's global. I'm operating from Nigeria, but I'm thinking abroad. And one of the things that I saw when I came down with that crisis in 2020, and I had kidney failure and all that, COVID came. So COVID was part of my challenge and all that. But something happened. I said, this is a global war. So I told myself, in 3 years, I must begin to talk to the world. And today, I have clients, I have mentees around the world, at least in 7 nations of the world. Because I started thinking global. While I'm doing this local one, now look at what God has done for us today. We have Mr. Paul Sole from Ghana. The last time I went to Ghana was about 10 years ago. Now he came in from Ghana to join us. That means this webinar is already international. It's global, but it's designed, the time, the language is designed for Nigerians. But already I'm talking to people abroad. So it's important for you, therefore, if you are going to be local, you think global and you act local, you must learn to collaborate with your environment because you are only in competition with yourself and the world. Don't fight people around you. Don't fight people around you. Don't compete. And the equation for success, for financial breakthrough is your mindset. Before your skills that you have, before the tools that you use, then before the time that you invest in doing the work. So for me, my success equation is my brain. My skill set is my ability to speak, my ability to put together training materials, my ability to convince people. Then my tool set remains my phone, my laptop, my iPad, my library. And by the grace of God, one day I counted the books in my library. I had over 5,000 books. Those are my tool sets. Then I now invest time. So if you want to make money, more money without more money, invest in your brain, invest in your skill, then invest in the tool that you need. Then spend time. And please understand, income follows asset. You must have asset, whether it is mental asset or physical asset or relationship asset. Things that can become money for you. Those are the assets. You can leverage on them. And that's why I'm talking about the mindset, the skill set, the tool set, and your time. Those are the assets you have. So ask yourself, what asset do you have? What asset do you have? And of course, it is easier to make money, to make more money in a short time. However, you must learn to give attention to what will revolutionize your life and finances in the long run for wealth. If I want to make 10,000 naira more, I can do it in the next 1 hour. If I want to make $1,000 more, I can do it in the next 1 month. But if I want to make $1 million, I cannot do it in 1 month. So there's a short-term money, there's a short-term income, there is medium-term income, and there is also long-term income. So you need to understand what is the asset that you are building on. What is the asset that you are building on? Because it's very important. Because what assets do I have? You must ask yourself those questions because it is you need to do a skill. You need to do an audit of the skill of the assets that you have. Like I said last week, how many wealthy people have you spoken to in the last 1 week? How many wealthy people will pick your call if you call them? How many wealthy people have called you in the last 1 week? Okay, in the last 1 month, how many wealthy people have called you? How many have you called and they picked your call at the first day? Or when they missed your call, they returned your call? That's a measure of the relationship that you have. You can now build on those relationships. And don't ever beg the people in your circle for money. The wealthy don't like to give money. They want to give experience and knowledge and time. And they want to share their influence with you. But you must show integrity and character, and they're going to test you. Your character is going to be tested. So your character is your biggest asset. Your character is your biggest asset in making more money. People will invest in you if they can trust you. There's something they call letters of credit. Letters of credit. Letters of credit. You are in Nigeria, you want to buy goods from abroad. You don't know them, they don't know you. A bank will give you guarantee and the people will ship the goods to you without you paying them. Because the bank is saying they're going to pay if you don't pay. That is integrity. So don't destroy your integrity. And of course, the poor will always think everything is expensive. But the wealthy will always work to add value to the people they serve. And the wealthy people will always make sure that whatever they want to get, they will create value around it. What does it mean? If I want to buy anything new, I have to create a source to make that money before I buy it. But the poor will buy before he thinks of how money is going to come back. So it's important for us to understand that. Then a poor person believes that money's purpose is for paying bills. I want to pay my rent. That's why you need money. So when you see people coming to you, sir, my rent is due, I want to pay rent. That's a poor man. Why don't you go to people and say you want to go to school? You want to go and take a certification. But you are just trying to meet basic needs. That is poverty. Then rich people will always think that the purpose of money is to just show off, buy good phone. Let people know that I'm rich, so when I'm talking, my wristwatch will be shining. My shoe will be shining. And your future is bleak. Wealthy people will see the purpose of money as turning money into more money. That's the purpose of money. If you are wealthy, this money must make more money for me. That's all. So you use your money as an income-producing asset. It generates more asset. If it's not going to generate assets, don't do it. And of course, we mentioned this before, mental wealth intelligences will include soft skills. Soft skills like critical thinking, ability to think and reason out complex things. Think from all sides. Somebody tells you, I am just coming from my house. You should ask yourself, why is he telling you? Which of the houses? Where is the house? Why is he just coming from the house? Why did he leave the house? Where is he going? If you have critical thinking ability, you will learn to observe and question everything around you. Then strategic thinking, you think ahead. You build the boat before the flood. Strategic thinking. You already know what's going to happen in the next 4 years. You're anticipating what's going to happen in the next 2 months. So I'm going to need you next year. So I start befriending you now. I start visiting you. I start encouraging you. I start helping you to do little things because I know that next I'm going to need you. That's strategic thinking. When I wake up one day, I say, hey, Oga, I need money. That's not strategic. Complex problem solving. If there are problems, that are very difficult, like Joseph. Joseph was standing before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said, the problem you are telling me is going to happen is a very complex. How are we going to solve it in future? Joseph brought an offer. And Pharaoh said, there's no other person that is as wise as you. The Spirit of God is in you. So that's why we need the Spirit of God as Christians to make more money. Then emotional intelligence, being aware of your emotions, whether you have anger issue, because your emotion will be tested. Whether you are impatient, whether you are arrogant, whether you are proud, whether you are lazy, those will be tested. So be aware of your own emotions and also study the emotion of the people you are dealing with. Know the best time to ask somebody for something. Then interpersonal skills, how you're able to relate with people generally, then how you're able to adapt to people, adaptability. Are you able to work with a team? Because we need collaboration. Then resilience, when your back is on the wall or your back is down, are you able to jump up like the wrestler and remain in the game? If you don't know, a lot of people don't know how to remain in the game. They fall and they sink. If you fall down, don't sink into the ground like water. If you fall down, don't sink into the ground like water. That means you are not resilient. Resilience means you are able to bounce back. It can take time, but you bounce back. Then your digital, in this era of AI, everything, you need provisional, you need digital proficiency. Then your industry connection that I said, you must know people in the industry you're operating in. Those who can help you, those who can help. And the social skills are very key. Learn to listen well, learn to communicate well, learn to know how to solve conflict. Don't always want to win wars or argument. Learn how to resolve conflict between you and anybody. Your game, your objective is always to win somebody and win a friend, not to win an argument or win the war. So be strategic. Then empathy. Do you put yourself in the shoes of other people? So those are the things. But if you are going to now create wealth strategically, let me ask, do you have any questions so far? Do you have any question? We're going to be rounding up very soon. Do you have any question or comment?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any questions, sir?
Yes, sir. I listened to the teaching tonight carefully. When you mentioned about years that we can wait in a business, maybe 4 to 5 years.
That's my personal experience and opinion. Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I was thinking that if we have a business that started and 2-3 years, the business is slowing in making profit, but there's a potential that the business will still grow. I'm thinking that somebody decide such business maybe in 4 to 5 years because the profit is very slow and it's not buoyant.
Okay, Amazon.
What do you think, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Amazon, they invested money in Amazon for about 10 years before they started making profit. It's about 10 years. Facebook also spent about 4 or 5 years investing money before they started making the first income. If the business has potential, if you are convinced, you know what you are doing, and you know you're going to get results, you're not deceiving yourself, you can stay forever. Dangote waited for 11 years until 2 years ago before he finally started talking positively about the refinery. It took 11 years up to last year. I learned they're just going to start lifting oil now. So it has taken him 12 years. But he knew where he was going. But, in that going, there have been twists and turns. So you must ask yourself, do you have the staying power? That is where resilience comes in. Do you have resilience? And you are not deceiving yourself. Not that you say, God told me, or I know God what I had told God. God can tell you, and you didn't hear well. And if God told you, go back to God and ask God. There's a business that I designed in the year 2000. That's 24 years ago. I have not started the business. But every year, I refine the process. It has potential. I've not killed it. Will I do it? I've sold the idea to 2 people who did a poor job trying to run with it without carrying me along. So I'm waiting for the right time and the right people and the right place. But what I'm saying is this, but if this is the only income you have, and you are pumping money on your life, and you're not getting evidence that something is going to come out of it, please shut it down immediately. But if you have potential and you believe it can grow, give it about 4 years to 5 years. But keep reviewing it every year to be sure the market has not overtaken what you are doing. For example, you were planning to introduce, to start a printing press 7 years ago, and you have not started, and you are still looking for money to go and start the printing press in this era of AI. You have to think twice. Or you want to start an art studio where you'll be using paint and color and brush to design. You have to think twice because things are moving. So as you move, you have to adjust with time. That's what I mean. But the truth of the matter is that you know yourself and don't deceive yourself and don't be too emotional. Like I said, don't romance your idea. Rather, sorry, don't marry your idea. Just romance your idea. Date your idea, but don't marry your idea. Because the idea is, if it doesn't work, don't die with it. Shoot it down and move it on to something else. Dangote started the bank in Nigeria in the early 90s. He started the bank. I closed down the bank. He closed down the bank. Nobody remembers that he used to have a bank. And he went back to his cement business that was doing small. So you can shoot it down. Okay, you also tell us that this is not for me. This is not my thing. The truth, however, now we have shut down some businesses over time. So that's what I mean. Okay, I hope that is satisfactory, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.